the world of valet parking, we ask ourselves, why are you guys here? Why do you watch my videos? I know why, because you love the drama that we share in this crazy company. Well, on this episode, I'm basically gonna ask, is it legal for me to slap some of these valets? Now, during COVID, we had a situation where almost 99% of our accounts were shut down. I think we had one account that was still open, and it was one of our high-rise buildings. We were there and we had to make sure we had our masks on, but even then it was very limited at what we were doing on a daily basis. If on a 10-hour, 12-hour shift we parked 10 cars, we were lucky, so essentially 1 car per hour, but they still wanted us there because we were the first line of defense for the building to make sure nobody went in with the virus or anything like that. So they had to have their temperatures checked and all of these different things. So we would give them the script before they even got to the front door. Now, with that being said, we had valets that were working and they're getting paid their hourly wage. So I get a phone call and it's the manager, and the manager is saying, hey, Alex, we have a complaint from a guest who is inside of the building. They state that their car was extremely hot on the inside. And what happened, the valet must have sat in a car, and this had to be in February or March, with the heat on. And he had done something where he plugged in his cell phone, and I think this is a story we might have shared before, but the lady had menopause and she was really pissed off because when she got back in the car she had to turn the air on, and heat is something that she never does because her body is naturally hot anyway going through her menopause period. So anyway, I ended up taking this valet off the lot. I was very upset with him and I moved him to a different lot. Now on a different lot I get word from one of my long-time employees, one of my best employees who's been with me for a very long time, Langston, probably about 10 or 11 years. And Langston says, hey, do not put this guy on my lot ever again. He's stealing money. I said, Langston, how do you know that? He says, it's really simple. He's like, I know who our regulars are. I've been at this particular restaurant for over 5 years, and I know all the customers. I know what they tip, how they are. They come in 2 or 3 times a week. But he knows that, and what he does, Langston strategically, test some of the newer valets that come on board. So this one valet went, parked the car, pulled up the car, and when Langston asked what he gave as a tip, the guy said $1, knowing that this guy gives $20 each and every time, no questions asked, doesn't matter who the valet is. So at the end of the night, let's just say he should have had $130 approximately. This valet had $30. So he knew he had pocketed close to $100. Langston's like, I don't want him on the lot anymore, get rid of him. So we actually terminated this valet because of the problem that he had at the building, and then of course now he's stealing at the restaurant. He's no asset to us. We want him off the company. So this valet is gone. Fast forward probably a month or two early or later, this valet starts calling some of the other valets that work that building and said, hey, you know what? Hey, can I work that building? And some of the valets want breaks, so they said, you know what, you can take a break. You can work my shift. But little did I know, they didn't let me know. One of the #1 rules is, if you swap shifts, let me know. In fact, we have an app that you can do it through, and the app basically initiates a swap. But this guy is no longer in the app, so of course he doesn't have access to do the swap. But what does he do? He calls the valet physically. When he does that, of course, what happens? I don't know that this is happening, so I can't tell the valet, no, do not let this valet work. He's no longer working with the company. So they kind of quietly make that deal on the side, and what does this old valet do? He loses a set of keys. Now, again, remember, keys are super expensive. When we had the other case where we lost 4 sets of keys and it almost totaled $2,000, he lost a set of keys and it was almost $400 to $500. And for that, I make the valet responsible because you did something specifically you were not supposed to do, and you had someone work and you didn't get it approved by the management. So the valet is responsible for those keys, and I think the keys cost like $300 or $400, and the valet was responsible. I said, you know what? Go after your coworker if that's the case. I know we should do it, but technically he doesn't work for us anymore. So I called the valet and told him, do not ever contact any of our valets again. Period. Case closed. 3 months later, I get word again that he contacted another valet, and this is my fault. I should have put out a bulletin to the whole company that this guy specifically doesn't work with the company anymore. But most of the valets should know, look on a phone list, and you'll notice that this guy is no longer there. So moving forward, what happens? This valet contacts another valet and says, hey, can I work your shift? And the valet said, yes, but let me tell Alex. And the valet's like, no, I'll tell him myself. Again, the other valet did not know he was working with the company. And I find out later that night that there's another set of lost keys. This guy is trouble. I'm glad I terminated him. But this guy still called another valet, lost another set of keys, and luckily those keys were found in somebody else's car, but this valet was destruction. And overall, yes, I want to slap all 3 of these valets for not letting us know, by not following company procedures. It drives me ape shit like you wouldn't believe. Now, this next story is simple but interesting. I get a phone call from another building and they said, hey, Alex, your valet left early. And our valet is supposed to work until 2 o'clock in the morning. We have shifts that go all the way around the clock, but this valet was supposed to leave at 2 o'clock in the morning. He said, your valet left at 12:30. I said, okay, that's strange. Let me give the valet a call. I call the valet and the valet is adamantly, nope, I left at 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So I call back to the account and I said, nope, he said he left at 2 o'clock. I believe him. Again, I feel I can put my hand in the fire for these guys. I believe him. They said, well, Alex, come on down to the building on Monday and let's talk about it. So I get down to the building and I go into the video surveillance room, and clear as day at 12:32, it shows the valet driving out of the parking lot, gone for the day. And that is embarrassing. What can I do? I mean, that's a bold-faced lie. Even if there's a time change and even if there's daylight savings time, which I think was that weekend or the weekend before, the valet still left an hour and a half early and we got in trouble. So for that, I had to clearly terminate that valet. Not only did he lie to me, he made us look stupid as I tried to fight for him with this account. So that valet definitely had to go. This next story is quite serious. It seems kind of simple on the surface, but in true actuality, it can be very serious. What happened, the valet attendant, at the end of the night, what they do, when it gets to about 9 o'clock, the valets start writing descriptions on the tickets. The reason they do that, and the descriptions they're writing are of the customers. So if they have to go inside the bar and track down these customers, they know what they look like. So what happened, the valet wrote a description down and he wrote black girl. Yes, it was a mainly white restaurant, but this was one of the only black girls that walked in, and that's how he described her. But the idiot didn't take the tag off of the keys. So when she got the keys back, this is what she sees. And that's not a good look. Yes, she is a black girl, and yes, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's something specific that you cannot do. Now, this is not the only case. I got a call a couple of years ago where a valet actually wrote on the ticket, short, fat, bald guy. And the guy was pissed. Now, he called me and said, yes, I am short, fat, and bald, but I don't want to be reminded of it. And this could have some serious consequences. So from that point moving forward, we had to explain to all of our valets, you could do a red sweatshirt or a red hat, but you cannot be specific. That could be considered degrading. So it's extremely dangerous. There was a case here in Atlanta years ago, probably back in 2014, where someone wrote, it wasn't our company, it was another valet company, wrote Jungle Fever. And what that is, that's a reference to Jungle Fever. There was a Spike Lee movie back in whatever, late 90s, where it was a black and white couple. And this valet felt that it was Jungle Fever because it was a white guy and a black woman. And they went inside the restaurant and they went to the news and it blasted them out. And that valet company ended up losing that account because of the actions of one valet. So these are all valets that we want to line up and just slap them all. But I know it's not legal. We can't do that. But if it was, I guarantee I would have done it.